see this road is basically been cleaned now by the water, because this road actually gets submerged, like the majority of it here, because this is just a kind of a concrete jungle track. I've ridden along here when it's in a real deluge, and you can't see the road. It's just brown water. So yeah, it was a real severe downpour we had all night last night. So the water's going to be pretty serious today. I'm not sure if it's going to be too dodgy to get in the water, but we'll have a look anyway. There's a new stream here. So the jungle runoff is right here, coming from way up there, going down to the main stream there. My ledge today is barely above the water. Just noticing some evidence here of the water coming up to a very high level, probably during the night, during that downpour we had. Evidence over here. So all of this debris here wasn't there yesterday. That area's been swept clean. And those big trees, or the big stumps and everything we saw there up until yesterday, they're all gone. So it's all been swept further downstream. So we're a bit further downstream now, close to the bigger pool down there. Yeah, that's that piece of wood. It's still jarred in there, but the rest of the debris is gone. I don't know what's going to give first, whether the wood is going to give or that rock, that smaller rock on this end, is going to have to move. I mean, that big rock, that's going to take some shifting to move that. But that bit of wood, that looks pretty sturdy. And it's probably very old, like certainly it's hardwood. Because if it's not hardwood here, it doesn't last very long in the jungle. The termites get in it. Yeah, it really doesn't last long. But while we're here, I guess we could have a look at the big pool, because that's changed as well. Now this rock is notoriously slippery, so I'm going to have to be very careful. I'm just going to turn the camera off, so be back with you. I'm standing on some very slippery rocks here. This is the big pool. You see how that I call it, it's not silt, it's stones and sand. That's all shifted way over towards the back of the pool now. And all of that debris has been swept down into this pool. And further down, I don't know if you can see that pipe. That's part of the old pipe that used to go all along here. And further upstream, where I usually hang out, there was a lot of piping there up until yesterday. You know, for the old pipe that they sort of chopped up and basically discarded. It's all been swept away, it's not there anymore. So yeah, this water would have probably come over this rock here during its height yesterday or last night. And yeah, it's certainly been up to that sort of level there. And it's swept all through here, up over there. That's all clean. Even up there, that's really high. And that poor plant over here, you see that on this rock down here, this little plant growing out. That's looking a bit tattered. So that was obviously in the middle of the very severe flow last night. Had to crawl up on all fours just then. I had to go round to get on that big rock again. Yeah, this is pretty difficult going. So I'm going to use at least one hand. So, okay, so I've got a fair ways to go to get back up there. This pipe seems to have withstood its first test of high water levels. You can see all the debris piled up right there. And the pipe stood up pretty well to that. Now that tree that fell down a long time ago, that's precariously wedged on a rock now, and that may well fall down and crush that pipe. So using me as a measure, I'm stood right now at exactly where the water line used to be before all this heavy flow came. And right next to me is this tree, and I think that leaf probably marks where the high water line was last night. And if you look down, it's my feet there, and that's up to there on me, so that's over a meter. I think the chances of encountering snakes after such a heavy rainfall is probably higher than normal, because the snakes would be displaced by the deluge of floodwaters rushing through. And we've had one encounter already this morning with a big snake. Not that I was in any direct danger, but yeah, I certainly saw it. And there was a kingfisher that was a bit upset about it. So yeah, I'm taking you upstream here because there's something I noticed. This has all been washed through all along here, and the danger here now is if there was any glass, it's more exposed now, and you have a higher risk of stepping on it. So I just have to be even more cautious than normal. But normally these rocks I'm stepping on are not underwater. But the good thing about them not being underwater, or being underwater now, is that they're not as slippery as they were. Yeah, so this runoff is turned into a bit of a waterfall now. Remember the other day it was just a tiny runoff. Anyway, we're going further up because there's a tree that we saw a few videos back in that video I made about the Jungle Tsunami. So we're going up to have a look at that, or what's left of it. You see that bit of corrugated iron there? Somebody built like a shack. I've got no idea why, but they built it up there, and it was demolished really fast. Probably within 6 months it was just completely demolished, mostly by termites, and then the water took over and just completely smashed it to bits. And you know, that jungle tsunami we had, you see that tree down there with another tree wrapped around it? That actually had one of those corrugated iron sheets wrapped around it as well. Right, we're coming up to that tree that I wanted to show you. Now if you remember, this tree was actually spanning the water, and now we can see it's not anymore. It's been broken off because the other end was sticking on that side, I mean, it wasn't, you know, a flat bridge, it was angled down on that side. And yeah, the water must have hit it so hard, and probably more debris, and just snapped it off. So yeah, more evidence, my theory of jungle tsunamis there. That's what I was talking about. It's glass. So the high water levels, they just expose all of this stuff. And yeah, you have to be very careful, otherwise you end up cutting your feet. Okay, so we've come to a relatively wide section of the stream here. That's pretty wide. And the water, when it was at its height, came up to that level right there. So I'm going to go and stand down in the old water level, so we can see that by the different colors of the rocks here. So these rocks I'm pointing to, they would have been exposed, they wouldn't have been underwater. The water level would have been around here, or perhaps just a little bit lower than this. So yeah, considering this is a wide section of the stream, you know, that line over there will come up to probably around my just where my ribs begin. If you can imagine all of that water flowing at that sort of rate as it would have done, yeah, you really wouldn't want to be in the way of that, because that would just take you. And you know, I often think to myself, oh, it's okay, you'd be able to get to the shore or get to the side, but I'm not entirely sure you would, because you'd be battered against all these rocks and it would probably knock you senseless, and you'd be panicked and just drained of energy really fast. I mean, you know, my term jungle tsunami, I'm sure that wasn't appropriate for what happened last night, but it could have happened quite quickly. You know, I mean, that tree we saw just now upstream, if that had have actually made a dam across the water, which is very possible, because you know, that tree wouldn't have been easy to snap. So, you know, there was probably stuff piled up against it, other branches and pieces of tree and everything, and you know, it would have sort of dammed the water, or at least caused resistance to the flow of the water. And as the debris piled up, it would have just got, the force of the water would have just got stronger and stronger until that tree snapped, and that probably would release a lot of water, you know, in a very short amount of time. It wouldn't actually be a wave, I'm sure, but you know, what I experienced, or what I witnessed here, I mean, I didn't even witness it really. I mean, I saw the after effects of that seriously high water level, as I keep referring to about a month ago. That completely blew my mind. So this is the big pool from another angle. Get a better idea of the debris that's been swept down in here. That's it for today. Thanks for joining me, and if you like this video, please subscribe and like for more of the same. Thanks a lot. Bye.